What would happen if you landed on a planet where the atmosphere itself could be your death sentence? No aliens, no intergalactic wars, just you and a world so close to Earth that it feels accessible. But everything in that place is wrong. The soil, the air, the light. Something there doesn't want you around, and you feel it before you even touch the ground. You are left alone in an environment that no one really knows. Senses fail. Heat pierces through his suit. The silence is absolute, and time is uncertain. Would you have the courage to continue? Or would he return without understanding what he almost saw? Now answer me, what do you think could exist on a planet like this? A life form that doesn't need oxygen? A secret buried since the beginning of the universe? Comment your theory below. It may be that your idea is not so far from reality, because what you will discover in this video may make you rethink everything you believe about life beyond Earth. And maybe, just maybe, this planet is closer than you think. Proxima Centauri B is a planet outside our solar system, located 4.24 light-years away from Earth. It orbits the closest star to the Sun, called Proxima Centauri, a cool and unstable red dwarf. This proximity makes it one of the most studied exoplanets in science, and at the same time, one of the most feared, since it was identified in 2016 by astronomers at the European Southern Observatory. Proxima B has fueled debates among scientists, engineers, and visionaries. This is because it is located in the so-called habitable zone of its star, an orbital range where, theoretically, the temperature would allow the presence of liquid water. In theory, a planet in this region could support some type of life. But there is a problem. Being in the habitable zone is not the same as being habitable. Proxima Centauri B receives frequent bursts of radiation from its star. This radiation can destroy any stable atmosphere and prevent the existence of a magnetic field that protects the surface. In other words, what makes a planet look promising is what can make it lethal. When compared to the planets in our solar system, the complexity increases. Mars, for example, is cold and dry but predictable. Venus is toxic and hot but stable. Proxima B is in a different category. It carries the potential to look like Earth and, at the same time, hide conditions, more hostile than anything we know. This duality is what fuels the fascination of the scientific community, and also alerts it. Most of what we know about this planet comes from indirect calculations, such as fluctuations in the star's light and gravitational variations. In other words, we haven't seen this planet yet. Never. Everything is projection, simulation, assumption. Imagine that you are selected for an interstellar mission. Not an experiment, not a simulation, a real trip. Destination, Proxima Centauri B, a planet outside the solar system. Estimated distance, more than 40 trillion kilometers. With current technology, it would take a ship tens of thousands of years to get there. But in this hypothetical scenario, you're aboard a mission that operates with an experimental propulsion system, accelerating travel to something possible within a few generations. You're not going as a tourist. It is going as a point of contact with the unknown, and everything you know will be left behind. During the first few years of the trip, there is not much to see. Space is cold, predictable, and devoid of signs. Time passes differently on board. Messages sent to Earth take time to arrive. The ship is monitored by artificial intelligence. You train, observe data, review protocols, and wait. At a certain point, the star begins to appear. Proxima Centauri is smaller and darker than the Sun. The light it emits has a strange, almost artificial reddish tone. It seems close, but it's still billions of kilometers away. Still, it's confirmation. You're coming. Something real is there. Something no one has seen before. Sensors capture signals, gravitational variations, light oscillations, unusual radiation patterns. Nothing out of the ordinary, nothing that requires fuss. But there is a quiet tension to it all, a kind of dense expectation which begins to take over the crew. Because now, after so long, you will see. Nobody says anything, because nothing has happened yet. But deep down, everyone knows, landing is a decision with no return. The approach is slow, meticulous. The spacecraft stabilizes in low orbit, and the lander begins automated descent. The surface data is unclear. There is interference with atmospheric density readings. Thermal sensors oscillate. Still, the mission continues. You are there to confirm what no one has ever seen. The impact with the ground is not violent, but everything around seems to resist its presence. Dust does not rise as expected. It hovers for a few seconds before collapsing into thin air, as if it were unstable matter. The star's light, seen from inside the helmet, is distorted with reddish tones that don't follow the patterns you've trained to identify. Visibility is limited, even without fog. There is a general opacity to the environment, as if the atmosphere is constantly trying. To hide something, you take the first steps. The ground creaks underfoot, not due to geological instability, but due to a lack of defined structure. It looks like soil, but doesn't react as such. The gravity is lower than that of Earth, but something strange hinders your movements, as if you were walking on an invisible layer of resistance. The suit, adapted for extreme environments, begins to issue alerts. The temperature is rising faster than predicted. The cooling system tries to compensate but can't keep up. On the display, spots appear. Small cracks begin to form on the inner sides of the helmet. External pressure is not constant. It pulses, as if the planet had its own rhythm, ignoring the known laws of physics. The oxygen remains stable, but the feeling of suffocation begins to set in. It's not shortness of breath, it's something else. Something that the suit cannot filter. You try to communicate. The transmission fails, not because of technical interference, but because there is no return, no echo, no waves, no response. You are there, alive, but completely isolated. But the worst is yet to come. The real enemy is in the air you breathe. By now, perhaps you've realized, we're not just talking about one planet. We are talking about an idea that challenges reality itself, of something that science has yet to touch, and that could change everything we know about where life can exist or go extinct. So, before we continue, leave your like to ensure that this type of content continues to reach those like you, who face the universe with open eyes and a restless mind. It's more than supporting, it's being part of it. And now there's only one choice left. Do you continue or return without knowing what this planet is about to reveal? The mission involved risk, but what happens there goes beyond the margin of error. The planet doesn't just reject human presence. It activates, in a matter of minutes, every possible mechanism to ensure you don't stay alive. Ultraviolet radiation exceeds safe limits. Even with state-of-the-art filters, internal sensors detect that alarming levels are passing through the suit's structure. The shield, designed to withstand temperatures above 200 degrees Celsius, begins to fail. Microcracks multiply. The heat does not enter evenly. It penetrates in waves as if directed. The thermal system tries to stabilize. You can't. The inner walls of the suit begin to heat up like metal in an oven. External pressure is irregular. At times, it simulates a vacuum. In others, it rises to levels comparable to those in the ocean depths. This constant oscillation interferes with balance systems. The body feels this: blurred vision, impaired hearing, sensation of displacement in internal organs. The feet lose firm contact with the ground, and motor control quickly degrades. The atmosphere, composed of gases that have not been fully identified, is dense and loaded with ionized particles. The suit was not prepared to filter this type of element. The sensation of suffocation increases, not due to lack of air, but due to the excessive presence of compounds that corrode the lungs from the inside. Even with the respirator running, brain oxygenation begins to drop. The planet's magnetic field is extremely unstable. This affects everything: communication, navigation, sensors, feedback system. The display goes off for a moment, and when it returns, it shows incoherent data. The ship's artificial intelligence loses connection. You're not just vulnerable, you're invisible. No signal is output. No message arrives. The planet swallowed you. There is no screaming. There is no explosion. Just progressive failure. Slow, silent, irreversible. Everything we know about Proxima Centauri B is indirect. No one has ever seen the surface. No probe got there. Every theory starts from observing the star that the planet orbits and the small variations that its gravity causes. From this, scientists outline possibilities, some reasonable, others completely out of the ordinary. Proxima B is considered rocky, with a mass close to that of Earth, but its orbit is extremely close to the star, which raises suspicions about its rotation being locked, like that of the Moon, always keeping the same face facing the heat source. This would create two extremes, one side permanently scalding and the other frozen. The transition zone between the two hemispheres, called the terminator, may be the only point with temperature variation that would allow a stable atmosphere to be simulated. The composition of this atmosphere, however, is one of the great mysteries. Models indicate the possibility of gases such as carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrogen in unstable proportions. Others suggest the presence of ammonia, which would make breathing impossible. There are also suspicions of recurring electromagnetic storms fueled by radiation from Proxima Centauri, which would expel particles with enough force to evaporate volatile components within seconds. Surface temperature is another unknown. It can reach hundreds of degrees in exposed areas, but drop below 100 degrees C in areas of permanent shade. Without its own magnetic field, the planet is constantly bombarded by solar particles, which prevents the formation of a dense atmosphere, unless there is some not yet understood mechanism acting on its internal structure. Some speculative models speak of underground oceans of dense liquids such as liquid ammonia or metallic compounds trapped beneath the crust. This would explain thermal instabilities and density variations detected in the simulations. There is also the theory of violent geological activity, volcanoes that do not release lava, but corrosive gases or superhot metallic flows that alter the structure of the soil. All of this is still speculation, but science doesn't rule anything out. What if all of this is still just the surface and the real secret lies beneath? At this point in the video, you can already feel that Proxima Centauri B is not just an unknown planet, it is an open invitation into the absolute unknown. No camera ever filmed that solo. No human being has come close to breathing that air. All we have are hypotheses. Now tell me, what do you think could really be hidden on this planet? Do you think there is some kind of life adapted to those conditions, or perhaps a natural structure that science still cannot explain? Comment your theory below. It could be a crazy, scientific, imaginative hypothesis. What matters is that this conversation is between restless minds. And who knows, your idea might be closer to the truth than we imagine, because, as hostile as he seems, we still haven't talked about the real reason we insisted on going there. And perhaps this says more about us than about the planet. Since the beginning of history, human beings have tried to cross limits. First, there were the oceans, then the sky, now the stars. But when we look at planets like Proxima Centauri, Be so inhospitable, so unlikely to support life as we know it, an inevitable question arises. Why do we still want to get there? Perhaps the answer lies less in the planet and more in ourselves. The search for habitable exoplanets is often presented as a scientific advance, and it is. But it also carries a powerful emotional component, the desire to start over, the desire to escape, the feeling that something is wrong here and that perhaps somewhere far away in the universe there is a chance to do something different. We live in a world facing climate collapse, resource depletion, political and social instability. In the midst of all this, thinking about an unknown planet may seem like an escape, but it is also a form of projection. We put in Proxima Centauri B, the reflection of what we lost or what we were unable to repair here. On the other hand, the idea of finding life elsewhere, even if only in microbial form, challenges our view of centrality in the universe. It would mean that we are not unique, that life can emerge under extreme conditions, and that our existence may not be as special as we think. This fascinates and scares at the same time. The obsession with this planet may have little to do with science and a lot to do with collective psychology. It's the same force that makes us explore the bottom of the sea, climb impossible mountains, or build robots to investigate active volcanoes. We don't do it because it's safe. We do it because the unknown bothers us. Getting to Proxima B is, in essence, a question that perhaps doesn't even want an answer. It just wants to be asked. Because as long as there's something out there that we don't understand, there will always be a part of us wanting to get closer. Even if it costs everything, the mission has come to an end, but not in the way it was planned. After the suit's systems collapse, the body begins to fail. Direct exposure to radiation destabilizes cellular functioning. Vision blurs. The muscles tighten. The nervous system tries to maintain some order, but it is useless. Consciousness remains. For a few seconds, long enough to realize that everything around has become unrecognizable. Oxygen runs out. The suit's internal pressure becomes unregulated. Communication with the ship remains inactive. No messages can be sent. No signals can be tracked. The body falls, but there is no dry impact. The soil absorbs it without noise. Gravity, already unstable, slows the fall. The sensation is not of falling, it is of disappearance. The mission's safety protocol predicted that any critical failure would activate an automatic registration system. But the files sent to the base never arrived. Just incomplete, corrupted, data without context. As if something there blocked more than signals, it blocked information itself. The person, now motionless, still notices. The brain, in the final seconds, maintains some level of consciousness. The broken display, the flickering lights, the atmosphere pulsing dull red. The mission is not completed. The return does not happen. The only witness to what happened is about to disappear. But in that last moment, something changes. At the edge of vision, a silhouette, not clearly a form nor an object. It's a movement, a presence, non-technological, unnatural, something that escapes the logic of human recognition, something that wasn't there before. And then everything goes out. The body goes out. The signal stops. The planet swallows. But what if, before you died, you saw something that no one else saw? This type of content doesn't appear every day, and few people really have the courage to face these possibilities. If you know someone who also doesn't accept easy answers about the universe, send this video now. Show them how far science and imagination can go, and how far maybe we shouldn't go. The more people think air about it, the closer we will be to understanding what is really out there. Maybe the question was never what's there. Maybe what really moves us is something else. Why do we want to know so much? Proxima Centauri B represents more than a point in space. It works like a mirror, an inverted reflection of who we are and what we fear to be. Observing this hostile, invisible, and theoretically unreachable planet forces us to confront the idea that we are not the center of anything, not even our own history. Obsession with exploring the unknown can seem like a search for knowledge. But deep down, it's a desperate attempt to understand ourselves. Because if there is something out there, anything, maybe that justifies what we're doing here, or at least distract our attention from what we still haven't been able to resolve here. It's easy to think we want to find life or a new home. But there's another possibility. Maybe we're just trying to fill the void of not knowing. From uncertainty, from smallness, to recognize that even after so much advancement, so much calculation, so much technology, we are still just a civilization looking at the sky and trying to understand what that means. Proxima B attracts us because it is there, but also because we can't see it clearly, because everything about him escapes, challenges, denies, and that intrigues us. Because the unknown, however dangerous it may seem, carries something that no discovery has ever been able to replace. The power to ask questions bigger than ourselves. And in the end, maybe that's it. We don't want answers. We want to keep asking, because asking is continuing to exist. It's about keeping trying, even when the universe doesn't respond. This type of content doesn't appear every day, and few people really have the courage to face these possibilities. If you know someone who also doesn't accept easy answers about the universe, send this video now. Show them how far science and imagination can go, and how far maybe we shouldn't go. The more people think about this, the closer we will be to understanding what's really out there. The truth is that we may never set foot on Proxima Centauri B, but the simple fact of imagining what could be there transforms us. It reveals how much we're still trying to understand where we truly belong, and what we're willing to go through to find that out. Being part of this channel is more than watching videos. It's about embarking on a constant journey through questions that challenge science, logic, and reality itself. Here, each theory leads to a new mystery, each discovery a new limit, and there is still a lot to be explored. So activate the bell and subscribe now, because what's coming will make you look at the universe and at yourself in a way you may never have considered. Now, what if the real danger is not outside of Earth, but hidden right here in the time in which we live? Click on the video that appears on the screen. You have already started this journey. Now it's too late to go back.